Good morning, Mr. Luna's Tuesday, Thursday, 9:30 class. My name is Christina Ortiz, and I'm going to be talking to you about sincere questions versus insincere questions, or counterfeit questions. So when we talk about sincere versus insincere questions or counterfeit questions, the first thing we need to address is, what is questioning? So you will find in your book in chapter 7, page 230, or in your glossary on page 413, that the definition of questioning is a listening response in which the receiver seeks additional information from the sender. In chapter 7 of our textbook on page 230, we see that questioning is defined as the most popular piece of language. And that's because when a question is asked, it not only benefits the person asking the questions, but also the person providing the answers. So when we look deeper into sincere versus insincere or counterfeit questions, again, in chapter 7, page 230 of your textbook, it refers to sincere questions as being a means to understand someone better versus insincere or counterfeit questions as a means to send a message and not receive one. So for sincere questions, the best definition I was able to find from the textbook was actually in the glossary on page 414, and it states that sincere questions attempts to elicit information that enables the asker to understand the other person. So for sincere questions, since it's aimed at understanding others, an example of this could be, "Good morning, Mr. Luna, how was your weekend? What did you do this weekend? How is your day going? How are your kids?" Anything like that that helps us understand others a little bit better. Okay. So when we look at insincere questions, the textbook actually refers to them as counterfeit questions, which is not a big deal. It's the same thing. We just look up counterfeit questions in our glossary on page 410, and it states that counterfeit questions are questions that disguise the speaker's true motives, which do not include a genuine desire to understand the other person. So talking about insincere or counterfeit questions, questions that are aimed at sending a message and not necessarily receiving one, there are so many vast varieties that our book talks about, but one that I want to touch on is questions that trap the speaker. So for example, say you go to the movies with your friend, and after the movie, your friend goes, "You didn't like that movie, did you?" That is an example of an insincere question or counterfeit question. They were basically telling you in question form that that movie was horrible and that they didn't like it, and they don't expect you to like it either. But you still have your take. You can either, it puts you in a corner, but you can defend your argument and be like, "No, that was a great movie." Or you can simply go along with them and say, "Nah, that movie was horrible." But that's the basis of an insincere question. They are sending a message instead of really looking for you to respond in a way to understand you better. So to recap this short video lesson, questioning is beneficial both to the one asking the questions as well as the one providing the answers. Sincere questions, they are aimed at understanding others, while insincere or counterfeit questions are aimed at sending a message and not receiving one.